Hello there, and welcome to Saber Jewel Gaming, where we always take the high ground. And welcome to one of our retro reviews, but this time with a little Know Your History thrown in as well, as we're looking at Super Mario Bros. 2 Mario Madness. Super Mario Bros. 2 is a strange little game. For anyone who's played it, you probably already know what I mean. For anyone who hasn't, well, let's have a little look at it today, shall we? Super Mario Bros. 2 was released in 1988, a full few years after the original Super Mario Bros. Game, and for many people initially it probably looks like a fair standard sequel. And on the surface it is, but there's something about it that's a little bit off. My first experience of Super Mario Bros. 2 was as part of the Super Mario All-Stars package on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, so the graphics were a little bit sweeter than they had been on the original NES version. But even with these improved graphics, it didn't take long for me to start feeling like this wasn't a Super Mario Bros. Game. Don't get me wrong, I can clearly see, there he is, Super Mario. There's the bean spout things we climb up, and a fair few other things that make it feel like a Mario game. But there was a fair few other things that just didn't. I mean, I very quickly realised that I couldn't kill things by jumping on their heads, which was a standard fatality in the Super Mario franchise. The longer I played, the longer I realised that whilst this was a very good game, it didn't feel like a Mario game. But little did I know that the clue as to why this was the case was sat there on that same cartridge. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. For many like me, our first exposure to this was on the Super Mario All-Stars cart, and it was something of a nightmare game. It was like the original Super Mario Bros., but so much harder. What I didn't realise was that this was the original Super Mario Bros. 2 released in Japan. Released 2 years earlier, in 1986, it was deemed far too hard for Western audiences, and instead, we were given Super Mario Bros. 2. But then, why was this Super Mario Bros. 2 so different to the original one made for Japan that we didn't get to see until many years later? Well, the answer to this is actually very simple. It wasn't a Mario game. It didn't play like one because it wasn't built to be one. When Nintendo realised that the Lost Levels, or Super Mario Bros. 2 as it was called in Japan, was going to be a bit too difficult for Western audiences, kind of offensive, but having played it, I agree, they decided they had to release something. Super Mario Bros. Was a phenomenon, and in America and the UK, people were desperate for more Mario. If they didn't release something soon, they were really going to miss out on a lot of financial benefit. So instead of making a whole new game, they found Doki Doki Panic, an established platform game that was ready to be released, and they simply Mario'd it up. The 4 original characters that you could play as were replaced with Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad. They added in a few other Mario-like tropes, such as the mushroom, but they didn't work the same way exactly because they were originally meant to be different items in a completely different franchise. So here's what we're left with. A very good platform game, but not a Mario platform game. A Super Mario Bros. 2 that isn't really Super Mario Bros. 2. But all that said, how did the game actually do? I was very surprised, because I'd always grown up seeing this one as something of a black sheep of the Mario family. I'd assumed it had been received quite poorly, not terribly because it's a decent platform game, but I was certainly surprised to see that it was often ranked as one of the top 5 games on the original Nintendo. I was even more surprised to see just how many different magazines at the time were giving it marks in the high 80s to low 90s. Perhaps this was tainted slightly by the fact that it had that Mario bias, but still, most people seem to think of this as a classic, almost on par with the original Super Mario Bros. And the later Super Mario Bros. 3. So the game was actually a huge success in both the UK and America. Whether it would have reached the same success and been given the same score had it gone by its original Doki Doki Panic name, That's up for debate, and I personally don't think it would. Maybe there's something of a Mario bias involved here. But this leaves us with the big question. How does this game rack up under modern scrutiny? Well, in preparation for this, I went back and played both the version on the SNES and the NES to get a full flavour as to whether the changing graphics improved my perspective of the game. But I have to be honest, it didn't really do very much. The newer version looks prettier, but neither version really drew me in. Whereas with the original Super Mario Bros. Game, I couldn't stop playing. With this, I really had to make myself. Unfortunately, I don't think this game would have been as successful if it didn't have Mario in it, and I think it only deserves about a 6.5 out of 10 nowadays. Tell me how wrong I am in the comments section if you think so. Either way, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you liked, and you can find me on TikTok and Instagram.